So, what is a panic attack? Well, simply put, a panic attack occurs during the almost instantaneous onset of intense anxiety. It's most often characterised by the deep feelings of fear and apprehension and accompanied by something like heart palpitations, shortness of breath, plus a variety of other symptoms including things like sweating and trembling. Now, while the medical profession is not in agreement about what is the exact cause of a panic attack, there are certainly several things that do indeed play a role in bringing one about. And this includes a combination of factors that are to do with a person's biological makeup, their environment, their way of living, and of course inherited traits. Now, there is some ongoing investigation in which some experts are looking at genetics to find out if they play a role in the cause of panic attacks for some sufferers. As things like hair colour and eye colour can be inherited from our parents, it's also been seen that panic attacks can run down through the generations. Now, when looking to see if someone is predisposed to panic attacks or even panic disorders, researchers find that in many cases the sufferer has a family member who has either had a panic disorder or some sort of different type of emotional disorder, such as maybe depression. Now, another possible reason for panic attacks are of course the abnormalities in the brain. Now, these can occur from an accident or something like that. That's because the different types of changes in the way the parts of the brain function can result in a panic disorder. Now, recent studies have found that panic disorders frequently occur in people who suffer with things like psychotic disorders. That would be the type of thing such as post-traumatic stress disorder, as well as schizophrenia. And researchers think that these psychotic symptoms may bring about someone having a panic attack, and the psychotic episode could actually predict the onset of a specific type of anxiety disorder. And they also may play a part in the diagnosis of post-traumatic stress disorder as well. Now, another thing that researchers have thought is that as a throwback from our more primitive days, they've suggested that our body's fight or flight response to danger may also be involved in the onset of panic attacks. That's simply because our body's natural alarm system is made up of an involved set of physical and mental mechanisms which operate when we think we're in danger. Simply put, in order to give the body adequate resources to either fight the problem or run away from the problem, these systems put the body on high alert, which increases things like our heart rate and our breathing and that sort of thing. Now, during a panic attack, however, these feelings or emotions are, you could say, triggered unnecessarily, even though there is no danger. Now, heightened levels of stress are also quite often found in people who have panic attacks, but it's not just one type of stress that has the cause of giving panic attacks. You need to remember that stress has the effect of causing intense anxiety and panic, and it can originate from all sorts of different places. One of those places is things like major events that go on in our lives. Things like the death of a loved one or separation from someone we're close to. Now, in most cases like these, excuse me, researchers have found that when stress causes your resistance to be lowered, the underlying physical predisposition that we have to either fight or flee kicks in and triggers an attack. There are also environmental things to take into account as well. The environmental cause of panic attacks can be down to things like addiction to drugs or alcohol, or indeed things like intoxication with and withdrawal from either drugs or alcohol can also contribute to a panic attack or panic disorders for some people. Now, frequently the combined biological and environmental causes of panic disorder will work in tandem, and while we may be able to stand against one thing or another on their own, when we have two things together, well, we find it very difficult to stand against those. Now, you could say the usual scenario for a panic attack is that they just happen. That's why they're called an attack. Strange that, isn't it? However, studies have shown that after having panic attacks for a period of time, sufferers can actually start to bring them upon themselves. Now that's because they're responding to the physical symptoms associated with the attack. Let me give you an example there. Let's say someone gets a racing heart because they're taking some sort of drug. Now they might start to interpret that as a symptom of the attack. Now it could be that this might actually bring on an attack, because one of the main contributors to a panic attack is the worry about when the next one will happen. Now one of the most important steps that someone suffering from a panic or anxiety attack can take is to find out, obviously, what causes the panic attack. And the way they can do that is by working out and see what circumstances regularly precede the onset of a panic attack. And I would have to say that this is one of the most vital steps that anyone who's been diagnosed with panic attacks should ever take, particularly if you want to overcome panic attacks or anxiety attacks. Well, that's it. That's some of the causes of panic attacks. Hope that helps. See you next time.